Stop the auction. The gavel was already raised. The auctioneer didn't bring it down. North boundary, 62 feet. The man spoke from the back. If you sell it today, you're selling landlocked property with no legal way to reach it. Now heads turned. The bank attorney looked up, annoyed. Sir, everyone here drove in on it. He tapped the file in front of him. Access isn't an issue. The bank attorney let out a short laugh. We've heard this before. The man stood at the back, work boots, dust on the cuffs, a cardboard tube under his arm. He didn't argue. He walked forward. Slow, controlled. He set a rolled-up map on the table, then unrolled it. An old survey map, edges worn from years of handling, lines drawn by hand, precise, deliberate. He flattened it, turned it, toward them. Bottom corner, 1912. The developer leaned in. The county clerk stepped closer. The bank attorney stopped smiling. The man placed a finger on the map, a red X right at the crossing. He held it there. The only road into that property crosses my land. No easement, not recorded, not ever. The room went quiet. The auctioneer didn't call the next bid. That mark, a light tap on the map. That's where your access ends. You can see a road, but legally, there isn't one. He looked up, which means no one who buys this can use it. Silence. No one laughed. Everyone in that room had used that road to get there. The bank, the buyers, the clerk. They'd all driven in that morning without thinking, because you don't question a road that's always been there. The man at the back, Dale Sutton, he owned the land next to it. 20 years. Cattle fences, boundaries he knew without looking. He wasn't there to stop the auction. He was there to stop one thing, the access. The property had been foreclosed 14 months earlier. The paperwork was clean. The bank was ready. The buyers were already in the room. A simple deal. All of it built on one assumption. That road was valid. 3 weeks earlier, Dale checked. He pulled the 1912 survey and spread it across a long wooden workbench. Fence posts stacked along the wall, a coil of wire hanging behind him, old tools scattered to the side. He leaned over it, both hands on the map. He flattened the corners. The map lay open across the wood, edges pressed flat. He traced the boundary line with his finger, then followed it to the road. He stopped. Something didn't match. Not obvious, just off. He checked it again, then measured it. Same result. So he called a surveyor. 3 days later, the call came back. That road isn't theirs. It runs through your land. Dale didn't call the bank, didn't call a lawyer. He went back to the map, looked closer. The road was there. It had always been there. But on that survey, it sat 6 feet inside his boundary. 6 feet. Not much, but legally, everything. Because if that road sits on his land, then it was never theirs to use. And if it was never theirs, then nothing tied to it had legal access, which meant the land being sold couldn't be used. The auctioneer didn't touch the map. He looked at it like something he wasn't expecting. What am I looking at? Dale kept one finger on the red X. 1912 County Survey. The original boundary for both parcels. He traced a line across the page. This is the boundary between my property and the one you're about to sell. His finger stopped. And this is where the road sits. A light tap. 6 feet on my side. A subtle shift in the room. The bank attorney stood, buttoned his jacket. "Sir, that document is over a century old. What matters is what's recorded today." Dale nodded. "I agree." He placed a second document beside the map. Didn't explain it. Just let the attorney read. The attorney looked down, read it once, then again, slower. His hand moved away from his pen. The auctioneer looked at him. No response. Dale spoke again. "The road came later, years later. No survey, no filing." A brief pause. "Back then, no one checked." The attorney kept his tone steady. 60 years of uninterrupted use speaks for itself." Dale stayed calm. "Use speaks, but it doesn't file." A quiet murmur moved through the room. Dale turned slightly. "I'm asking the county clerk to verify one thing." The auctioneer frowned. "What specifically?" Dale didn't hesitate. "Whether any recorded easement exists, granting legal access across my land for that road." The clerk was already moving, stepping out into the hallway. The room watched him to go. No one spoke. The bank attorney sat down, opened his file, turned pages, faster now. The developer's representative shifted, eyes on the door, then the map, then Dale. Dale was already seated, hands flat on the table. Still. The kind of still that comes from knowing something the room hasn't caught up to yet. The clerk was checking what Dale checked 3 weeks ago. Same records. The only difference. This time, the whole room was waiting. The bank attorney didn't wait for the clerk to return. He stood, faced the auctioneer. "While we wait, let's be clear. Even if the road crosses Mr. Sutton's land, which we do not concede, 60 years of continuous use can establish a prescriptive right." He said it calmly. Like that should settle it. A few people nodded. Someone shifted in their seat. For a moment, it sounded reasonable. Dale didn't stand. Prescriptive rights require the use to be hostile. The attorney turned. "Hostile means without permission." Dale kept his voice steady. "My father owned that land before me. He knew people used the road. He never objected." A brief pause. "That's permission." He held the attorney's gaze. "And permitted use, no matter how long, doesn't become a prescriptive right." The attorney opened his file, looked at a page, closed it again. He tried another angle. "There's also implied easement," a small step forward. "When a property has been accessed the same way for decades, that access can be recognized." Dale didn't move. Only if both properties were once under the same owner. A short pause. They weren't. That landed. The attorney shifted his weight. "Regardless of technical definitions, this road has served that property for over 60 years. No dispute, no complaint." He let that land. At some point, practical reality has to matter. Dale looked at him. Maintaining a road and having the legal right to cross someone's land are not the same thing. A brief pause. "The county can maintain it. That doesn't create an easement." The developer's representative leaned toward his partner. A quiet exchange. A small shake of the head. The phone went on the table. The auctioneer checked the door. "I'm going to wait for the clerk," the attorney pushed. "This is a scheduled auction. And selling a property with disputed access costs more." Flat. That ended it. The attorney sat down. The room grew quieter. Eyes moved between the door, the map, and Dale. Dale remained still. The red X stayed in the center of the table. The clerk stood at the edge of the doorway. He didn't return to his seat. He looked at the auctioneer and said, "Can I have a moment?" The auctioneer nodded, set his paperwork down, and walked toward the hallway. The room watched them leave. No one spoke. The bank attorney opened his file again, turned a page, then turned it back. The developer's representative glanced at his phone, then set it down without doing anything. Dale didn't move. In the hallway, the clerk kept his voice low. I checked the county index, deed records, and easement filings. I went back to the original filings. A brief pause. There is no recorded easement. Not for that road. Not across Mr. Sutton's parcel. Nothing filed. Nothing on record. The auctioneer looked down for a moment. Could it be filed under a different name? Or parcel number? The clerk shook his head. I checked cross-references. I checked the road corridor itself. There is no instrument on record granting access across that land. A short pause. The bank's title search should have caught it. Someone should have verified this before the mortgage. The auctioneer didn't respond. He straightened his jacket, looked back toward the door, and walked in. Every head in the room turned. He returned to the table, stood behind it, looked at the room. The clerk has completed his records check. There is no recorded easement granting access across Mr. Sutton's property for that road. He said it plainly. The way you read something that can't be argued. The man beside the developer's representative leaned in, said something quietly. The representative didn't answer. He was already looking toward the exit. The bank attorney stood. This finding doesn't automatically invalidate the auction. There are legal remedies. The court can establish. The auctioneer cut him off. Counselor, I'm not a court. He looked at his paperwork, then back at the room. I'm not authorized to sell a property with disputed access and no recorded right-of-way. Not today. He set the papers down, looked at the gavel beside him. He didn't pick it up. This proceeding is adjourned, pending resolution of the access. That was it. No argument changed it. No motion reversed it. The gavel stayed where it was. The auction was over. The room didn't empty all at once. People gathered their things slowly. Quiet. Measured. The developer's representative stood, buttoned his jacket, picked up his folder. He didn't speak to the bank attorney, didn't look at Dale. He just walked out. 2 buyers followed. No words, no hesitation. The bank attorney stayed at the table, phone to his ear, voice low, controlled, but no longer certain. He turned slightly away from the room. The auctioneer filed his paperwork. The clerk stacked the records back into place. Neither of them spoke. Dale reached across the table, flattened the edges of the 1912 map one last time, then rolled it. Careful, deliberate. He slid it back into the tube, pressed the cap on, picked up his folder, stood. No one stopped him. No one asked a question. He walked to the door, opened it, stepped into the hallway. The door closed behind him. Inside. The map was gone. The bids were gone. The sale was gone. All of it had depended on one thing. The road. A road everyone had used, without ever checking. Dale had. That was the difference. Sometimes what everyone assumes is exactly what no one verifies. If this story stayed with you, there's more like it. Next time. A widow in rural Kentucky walks into a courthouse with a document her husband left behind in 1974. The county says the land isn't hers. The document says otherwise. We'll see what holds.